Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest is Deborah Drummond. We're going to be talking about a number of things today, but anti-aging. You know, it's not just an exterior thing, it is an interior thing, and about jumping into your day every day with enthusiasm, despite what your age is. We're going to be doing two shows with Deborah, one with her partner later on actual, social media to do with business. But today it's kind of about that anti-aging and how we're just going to not let the number dictate what we should be and allow ourselves to be vibrant from the inside out all the time, because life is about living right to the very, very end. Deborah is highly recognized as a pioneer for women in business in Canada for close to 30 years, with a strong background in holistic healthcare, anti-aging and wellness, business success. She's a sought-after speaker and MC. She's been nominated and awarded for many corporate and grassroots organizations for her talents and successes, including Royal Bank of Canada, Women of Distinction, Misbehaving Women of the Year Award, and the Wendy MacDonald Award. She's also been listed in many magazines, and we're very happy to have her here today. Pick her brain and her enthusiasm of how we not just necessarily can turn back the clock, but how we can slow it down. And remember, we're still alive, so let's enjoy life, right? Welcome to the show, my darling.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. What a wonderful entry. And it's such a pleasure to be here. You are an icon in the world of media, that is for sure.
Been doing it a while because I get to interview great people like you who are making a difference in the lives of others. And I think one of the key ingredients to anti-aging is participation and being of service.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, well, you know what? When you feel good, you act good. When you act good, you feel good, right? It's Many of us, and I don't know the audience age per se, but many of us know what it's like to pour out in and, spend money taking care of other people and all of that. And then there usually comes a time, one of my favorite sayings when I'm doing, when I did the Health and Wealth series at the RBC, it was very interesting going in and realizing just how little people knew about preventative health, never mind taking care of themselves. And when people think of taking care of themselves, they're like, I'm going to take myself out for lunch. I'm going to go with my girlfriends and have tea. But rarely do they go, wow, I'm going to go find some really good nutraceuticals and I'm going to take care of my mitochondria, and then, right. And then the issue comes up, right? That's so funny. But the issue comes up then of, oh, I'm going to take care of me on the inside. And people sometimes have a difficult time treating themselves like they're the most important piece of real estate they will ever own.
Yes. And also I think one of the big things is people will go off and, get their makeup done and get their hair done, because the exterior has to look good. But in the meantime, the interior is breaking down and they're aging rapidly on the inside. And as long as we slap the makeup on and the illusion with the hair, it doesn't matter what's going on inside. Wrong. The inside is the most important part of you.
Absolutely. I agree. And in terms of time attention and also terms in financial attention.
Yes.
Right. Now, I'm a believer of both. I think you can look good and feel good, whether it's your favorite outfit, whether you go, get your hair done today. We all know that extra kick in our step when we feel like we're looking at our best. And so to match feeling at our best, because you'll hear people talk, right? And they'll be like, oh man, my shoulder's a little out, or I'm this, or I'm noticing things changing. And also there's a plethora of information out there. There's a plethora of information out there. And they read an article. Look, I just put up an article yesterday talking about one of the most powerful anti-aging vegetables that you could eat is actually the red, yellow, or orange pepper. Now, someone's going to read that and go, okay, well, I'm starting to age. And what am I going to do? Eat peppers every day of my life? No, it's just a piece of information going, if you're looking at preserving age and you want to have a high level vitamin C content because you know that, then get a red pepper over a green pepper. Yeah. But people are also, they don't really know where to go, which is where I've stepped in for the last 30 years.
Well, it's the balance, isn't it? Because people get inundated, as you were saying. You've got to do this and you've got to do that and you've got to buy this and you've got to buy that, and all they can see is dollar signs or like, I've got to change my diet altogether and I don't know how to incorporate this. It's all too overwhelming, so therefore they do nothing, right? So it's, I think, baby steps. Everything can be changed, right? We can change our habits as we get older. We know we can't drink as much, we can't eat as much, we can't eat those foods that we used to eat. We're maybe not as active as we were. That doesn't mean we're out to pasture. It means that all we have to do is, how do we fortify ourselves as we get older so that we can still participate in life? And as this show is, your health is your choice. So if you really want to be healthy, then the choices you have to make around your attitude, your gratitude, and what you put in and on your body is something you have to be extremely mindful of.
And I think it's really good news to share with people that when you talk about how we need to change from what we could do to what we can do. And I'm going to use the word trim. We just trim some of that. And we use kind of what I love. There's a great business mentor that I know of, and he talks about, I actually have the book, I'll send it to you. It's not my book, and I'll send it to you. And it's called the Slight Edge Principle. And the Slight Edge Principle is this: it's easy not to, as easy as it is to. Yeah. And when you change little tiny things, I mean, it could be, if you could be talking to someone in finances right now, you put 5 cents and then 10 cents, then 20 cents. Then you've got the book called The Wealthy Barber, right? But it's the little things you do every day, in particular to anti-aging, are critical. They make such a difference. They make such a difference. And I also think people need to respect that not only is our body aging, but we're also part of modernization.
Yeah.
And you can tell me all that you want that, well, I eat 3 meals a day and I eat my vegetable. There's a thing called modernization. Things have happened. There's blue light that's shooting off your computer right now. Yes. And there's all sorts of things that we can do. So as we evolve, so does the information around taking care of your body. And you don't need to be a guru, and you don't need to follow 45 different people on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, your magazines, TV, whatever. Just find something and someone that you think can take you through that process, and then make the changes slowly but surely. There's 2 personalities, one that's going to go slowly and surely, and one that's going to drop it all today and start a new regime tomorrow, right? I probably tend to be more that person, but because I'm like, when enough is enough, right? When enough is enough. But, yes. But keeping the principles of that optimum health happens through little things and little things and little things and little things. So that's really good news to people. They don't have to change everything by tomorrow morning.
No, and I think the big word here is aware. Be aware of your body. If you're feeling sluggish at certain areas, or maybe after a certain meal or a certain exercise, what can boost that performance? What can help you digest that food better? Your hair starts changing. I'm 67, so believe me, I know a number of changes here. And it doesn't mean I can't anymore. It means that I may be limited to what I could do, what I used to be able to do, but it's a question of what can I do? Let's feed the cans. Let's feed what we can do. The other thing I think to do with food is, if we could just simply make the choice to go and buy as organically as possible instead of preservatives. Right. And we're automatically kind of giving the nutrition our body needs. The more nutrition our body needs, the mind starts looking at things from a healthier perspective, because the body's being fed. Now the mind's being fed. Now the mind starts feeding the body. And it's a lovely yin yang circle that's going back all the time. People want to just address certain parts of their mind or their body or the heart and the soul. We're one organism. We have to take care of all of it, don't we?
Absolutely. And I think you said a good point when you're talking about things like organic. One of the things that I love to share with people is little tidbits around that. Because when people hear organic, they also hear expensive.
Yes.
Right. And so I just want to let people know that the word organic is now common ground. And so when it first came out, it seemed extremely expensive, but there has been an evolution, obviously. And it's very par. Like, I can go buy whatever it is, say, or if I'm going to do tofu, that I can do organic tofu, and it's the same price as a chicken breast. And so people used to think that there was a vast difference, and there was. And I know that, I was, a young family with 2 children that had, extracurricular needs, and the grocery budget was a very real thing in my life.
Yes.
And so I made choices. So I first started off, vegetables, fruit and vegetables were going to be organic. And the fruit and vegetables were going to be the ones that we didn't have to peel. Understanding that when your product, your cucumber, or your lettuce, or whatever is in that soil, it's soaking up the pesticides, right, that are feeding that soil. So you're going to look at your lettuce a little differently. You're going to look at it as a sponge instead of a lettuce. And so start to change where you can. And then I went on from there to meat. So if it was meat or whatever, because not, half my family ate meat, half them didn't. And so then making that choice to go over to, and just as my budget allowed, I went in that direction. But just to let you know now, because obviously I'm 56 this year and I don't have young ones at my feet anymore. I actually have grand yayas, they're called. And so I'm a yaya, but so it is very different. It's not as expensive as people think. And, I would take, 1 head of organic lettuce instead of 1 head of regular lettuce and 2 tomatoes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just about, again, it's those small changes. It's the slight edge, and your body will respond so much better.
But don't you also find the more nutritionally you eat, the less you need to eat?
Absolutely.
So it balances out in your budget anyway. When you're eating those empty foods that don't have the nutritions in there, you're left hungry all the time, even though you've just eaten a big meal. When you eat those nutritious foods, you find you eat less because you're satisfied more. So when you look at your budget, you go, really, I can afford this because I don't need to eat as much because my body's getting the nutrition it needs.
Now, look, I want to share something because we are in the fall season and everybody loves pumpkin pie and pumpkin tarts and pumpkin cake and all that stuff. Okay, look,
pumpkin soup.
Pumpkin soup, right? So I want to share something. If you are doing pumpkin, please, of any vegetable in the world, please use organic, because what they use pumpkin for is that if there's a farm that is going to go from non-organic to organic, they'll actually lay fields of pumpkins because they suck up toxins and pesticides in the soil better than anything. And so go ahead and carve them and stick a candle in them and have the best party ever but if you're going to use it as an edible item, please make sure that you buy organic. There you go.
And the various other squashes and things like that. There's some beautiful squashes like that. We were at my son's, and my kids have bought a cabin together on Lake Cowichan, and I've just spent the last 2 weekends. I'm going again this weekend. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. Atmosphere and where you are is very important. We'll get to that in a moment. But he did a carrot and squash and ginger and various spices type soup. And and that's the thing, when you eat the food where you can feel it nourishes the spirit, then it's nourishing, not nourish the craving, but nourish the spirit, then it's nourishing the body.
Yes, we could talk about food for a long time in terms of anti-aging, but I think that we've really nailed it. Just, the other thing I want to talk a little bit about in terms of aging is your digestion. And we could go into a whole world of digestion, and I don't suggest we talk all about the gut for the rest of our conversation.
Let's give it a few minutes, though. It's important.
Yeah, I do want to give a few minutes to that. My belief around digestion, not just my belief, but, doctors that I studied 25 years ago, is that, people go, I do the meat, potato, vegetable thing. Look, I was raised with meat, potato, and vegetable. I just want to share, there's nothing wrong with eating your meats, your potatoes, or your vegetables, but there is something unhappy for your digestion when you eat them at the same time. So I want to share with you, when you eat protein, your digestive enzymes are going to go for it. And, you know, a lot of people lack in digestive enzymes anyways. I've done 30,000 treatments when I had my clinic, and 90% of them I sent out to get enzymes when they had trouble with their stomach. So that's another topic, but your enzymes are going to go after your protein. Higher end meats like, you know, your game and your beef and what have you, 5 hours, and then your poultry to fishes are about 3 hours. So all your enzymes, they're busy. Da, 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 da. But if you have a starch that's come in with that, your enzymes are busy. And so your starch actually ferments. No attention is going to that starch. And so it ferments, and it has to make its way through your digestive tract. It's going to make you heavy. It's certainly not going to encourage any weight loss if you're at that stage where you want to keep trim. And it's really hard on your stomach. But if you had vegetables, and only vegetables with that protein, so I'm not saying don't eat protein, but if you had vegetables, they'll break down on their own.
Yeah.
They'll break down on their own. So you're having a healthy, happy digestive experience. So do your protein, but do it with vegetables. Do your starch, but just do it with vegetables. And it comes to fruit. Everyone's like, oh, I'm going to be so good to myself. I'm only going to have fruit salad or fruit cocktail after my meal tonight. Well, please don't. Because when you put fruit on top of food that is not digested, what do we drink on Friday night at the end of the week? We drink fermented fruit. And so that fruit is going to ferment your food in your gut. So if you're going to eat fruit 1 hour maximum before you have food, or 4 hours later, that alone is going to give you a happier tummy. It's going to make your stomach feel youthful, and that will help.
I am 95% vegetarian, vegan. Occasionally I'll have a piece of chicken and a bit of fish, but mostly my diet is vegetables. And I like about 6 veggies a night, whether it's roasted with turmeric and black pepper, or you know, whether I steam it or cook it or make a pasta or whatever. Don't touch my vegetables. You know, you can have the meat, but don't touch my veggies.
Yes.
I love the texture of them, you know. And today, actually, with vegan food, you can make so much, like mimic like ground beef or chicken or even fish or things like this, that if you want to have that taste, it's there, it's more nutritional, and you know, it's also more humane, because that's another thing altogether. But we can change. You know, I used to eat meat, and then it became a conscious decision for me of, you know, how can I look at them and say they're cute and eat them. So, you know, that became a conscious decision. But I also feel better on my veggies. I feel so much better on my veggies, and it's a mixture of the greens, and you know, there's 3 or 4 staples I have every night in everything I do. And know your body, right? You know your body, and yes, it's going to go through a change as you change your diet. Not like, well, I tried it once and I didn't like it. You know, your body's going through the change. Understand that with everything you're about to do, your mind, your body, everything is going to have to adjust to the new change. Give it the time it needs.
I'm a 90-day on anything, whatever you decide. If you're, you know, if you decide that, you know, whatever, you're a meat eater and you're going to change how you add things to it. If you're going to go from eating meat to not eating meat, if you're going to go from, you've been plant-based and you decide you're going to bring in some protein, whatever your decision-making is, when people try ideas, philosophies, or supplements with me, I'm like, I don't want to, we're going to go through the first 90 days together, and we're going to do 90 days. You know,
well, that's the cellular structure change, isn't it? The cells change over every 90 days.
Well, and plus this is a habitual thing. Even when I get people on anti-aging skincare, you know, they're calling me in a week. I'm like, well, I'm not seeing the changes. And I'm like, sweetheart, I love you, darling. But you didn't get there in a week. It ain't happening in a week.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Let's just get real, right? So I just tell people, no matter what, you know, whatever I talk about with people, like, let's do 90 days, shall we? So,
and you know, talking about the mental repetition, as you said, we have been in, you know, maybe bad habits for most of our life, you know, not necessarily by choice, but by society's, you know, expectation or dictation. And now we've made a choice to change, and it takes a while to change habits. Oh yeah, I forgot. I've always done it that way. You know, the old rubber band thing. You know, it can help. But know that change does need time. And it needs you to nurture that change, and just to remember, I'm doing this for the embetterment of my heart, soul, and body. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me. And people who give up cigarettes or give up alcohol or give up other things in life, you know, habits that they know that aren't good for them. It's hard at first, but the results as you go further and further down that road, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know I could feel this way.
Well, and that's what's going to happen. That's, you know, that's the payoff. But that's why I like the slight edge approach, and people just, you know, making change, whatever it is. And you know what? We come to places in our life, we come to crossroads all the time. I was just on with a group of women, and we're doing a speaker series called Starting Over. And you know, we're at crossroads because things happen in our life, or we're at crossroads because we want to make things happen in our life.
Yes.
And when it comes to the anti-aging of the body, there's certain things that are really, really important. For me, I for example, I've taken on, you know, I think I shared with you in just over a year now, myself and my colleague, we're going to walk across Ireland and raise money for a music association.
Yes.
Now, look, I am not in the shape to be walking a 10-day marathon, you know, a marathon a day for 10 days. I'm not there yet. But the gentleman that I'm working with that's helping me with my body had said this to me. He's like, I'm not the trainer that's going to get you in the gym and your muscles are going to be bulging out. I'm the trainer that with this philosophy, you're at 90 years old or 95 years old, going to be throwing your grandchild up in the air and having a blast.
Right.
That's the kind of health that I take when I talk to people about this internal health. It's the longevity and the preventative form. So you might feel great now, or you might feel like there's nothing wrong now. That's when you start. When people come to see me and they've got, you know, issues, whether it's they want their face to look younger, whether they want to feel younger, whether they're not awake in the morning. You know what I mean? Like their eyes are open and they're walking, but they're not awake. You know, and their brain's foggy, whatever it is that we work with, it's like that's already acute. You're already at an acute stage. What I'm loving and seeing, I mean, it's my work, right? So millennials spend up to 31% of their income on supplements because we are now raising preventative, right? We're raising preventative instead of corrective. I mean, I'm from a corrective society. I'm like, wait till there's a pain and then go talk to someone about it, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes.
And
but we were, I mean, anything preventative was woo-woo. Was hippie-ish, right? It was like, you know, that's just for the hippies. You don't need that. Just go to have a burger, you know? And the other thing I think that is really important to mention is people who go through traumatic changes, a death of a loved one, change of career, a divorce, you name it. It doesn't matter what the trauma is. Somewhere along the line, we're going to face the trauma. And some people get stuck in it emotionally, and it starts dis-easing the body. And the body starts breaking down. The next thing you know, you have a body in trouble. And then what do? You go to the doctor addresses the symptom of the body, not the root cause. And then next thing you know, you've got somebody feeling old because everything about them feels decrepit. And they go, how can I come back from this?
Yes, that's very true. Trauma is a big impact on the body. And there's the mind, body, and spirit. And that has been, for some people, a very new piece of information because, again, you know, being the generation that I am, it was like you just worked through it. And so now there's a lot of tools. I mean, when I started teaching meditation, people used to call me, so, you know, we had a wonderful neighborhood, and, you know, there was a family upstairs and a family across the street, like all five of us. We used to have these like Martha Stewart parties, and we used to wear hats and all, you know, we do these fun things. And people used to, you know, jokingly, because I used to teach meditation, they're like, what the heck are you doing? Or, you know, I did holistic massage. They're like, what's holistic massage? What, you take, you know, one piece at a time. And I used to walk around and, you know, do little chanting and meditating. They used to call me Shirley MacLaine. They're like, hey, Shirley, welcome to the party. Right? And it was so funny. I mean, we said it in jest, but they were like, but I always say, people used to call me a hippie. Now they call me for help. So my nickname is Professional Hippie, but there's lots of things that you can do that are also free, you know, that are free. Like I give, like, you know, the red pepper thing. There's lots of things you can do that are free.
And, you know, again, the attitude, I was hippie chic, you know, because I'm 9 years older than you. So, and really come up in that deep hippie type thing. And we then kind of went into the 80s and 90s that kind of became very materialistic. and, you know, very kind of fake in a lot of ways in the food that we ate and the processes of foods and the processes of life altogether. And then it was like, hang on, this is not serving us. You know, we kind of feel empty. We're going through life monotonously and, you know, not connected to anything. And then it's like, well, maybe there's something in this, because I've been a spiritual coach all my life, and I was considered, you know, they're coming to take her away, haha. You know, and it's now it's mainstream, which I'm very glad to see, because more and more people that you know used to be afraid of it almost as witchcraft, and now are embracing it, and like, oh, okay, stretching, there's something to do with that. Yoga, yeah, it makes me feel more relaxed. Even going for long walks in nature, you know, all of these things that, as you said, you can do free. You know, going for walks, stretching, eating good food, having a wonderful attitude. That's all a choice in life, isn't it? And it doesn't cost anything. But if you have that money, instead of going out for a binge night with your friends or going off here and there trying to fill an empty spot, put that money into someone like you who is going to help you reconfigure the psyche, the body, into a succinctness that has a wonderful rhythm and flow.
Well, and the nice thing about when you take a look at, and so I appreciate and thank you for pioneering in the world of spirituality, because I know that it's not easy. So thank you for staying true to you. Thank you for staying true to you.
It's really who I am, right? You can't be anything else.
Yeah. But there's lots of people. I mean, I've come from the, you know, that's my genre in one of my businesses. And so a lot of people kept it to themselves for a long time, you know, so I appreciate that. I think when it comes to having to spend, like if you're going to whatever, I can tell people specific supplements that they really need to address at the core for anti-aging. It really is an investment in yourself,
yes,
which, like I said, is not anything difficult for new people. I was talking to someone earlier this morning because we're talking about aging, you know, age reversal of the brain. And this person happens to be, you know, I think he's about 45, and he's like, man, I'm like, it's called brain fog. It happens to everybody. It's organic, you know, so anyways, we're talking about a supplement that I'm suggesting that he takes. And he's like, oh, okay, so how much is it? I said, less than the pillows that you bought at Winners last week.
Right.
And he's like, good point. Now, he didn't buy pillows
but it put it in perspective.
The perspective is, you're calling me, your brain's not working, you're having trouble getting things kicking. You don't feel as good. You don't have as much energy. So it really shouldn't be your first question. It probably should be your fourth.
Yeah.
So the point is, I think depending on the generation that you come from, it again, you know, and you know what, I don't want to say this because I am a woman, but women are a little bit more money conscious around spending on money for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we have a inherited cash register in our brain that
family comes first.
You know, yes, family comes first. What do I got to purchase? This comes up, but they don't realize that their whole world functions around them. Now, you talk to someone who's been a mom, they'll be like, the family ran around me. I was the outpour, the giver. I'm taking care of aging parents. I've got that going on right now with two of my cousins that are like brothers. They're having to take care of things with their mother. And so there's those they pop up like a little cash register in their head, like, ooh, soccer classes, and they're so used to filtering all of their expenses through some kind of filter, and they were somewhere at least below the middle down. That you used to hear things like, oh, okay, I'll get it, but I'll buy this for myself, but don't tell my husband. Or I've had husbands just go, okay, I'll just put it on another credit card. You know what I mean? I'm like, so it's very interesting on taking care of ourselves, and until at some point it's that have to. But I guess my point is, we have to.
Stitch in time.
We have to.
Stitch in time. The other thing, oxygenate yourself. We know that. How can we help anybody on a plane if we're gasping for breath? It's the same principle. How can you help anyone if you are depleted?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Attitude is really key.
Sorry?
Attitude is really key.
Like, oh, yes.
I mean, you know, I took your title, you know, you jump out of bed. And it's like, you want people to jump out of bed, because when you have a meaningful purpose, when you have a reason to get up and go and do something, to be of service to others, that attitude gives you such a youthful approach to life. an exuberant approach to life. And it's like, I don't care how old I am, I'm going to do it as long as I can because I love it. And when that love it comes into it, you're going to find a way to do it. And I think it's love is a generator. I think it can generate anything, back into fruitfulness as long as we're putting the right fuel in the vehicle. This is a vehicle that we're in, right? The casing that we've come in is purely a vehicle. You will go and service your car. You will go and change the tires. You'll go and fix the brakes. You'll go and polish it, right? You want the car to look good. You want it to run good. Do you spend the same amount of attention on you, on your body?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that I see it all the time. I'm so proud of everyone who has, there's really been a shift. I would say there's more people willing to take care of their health than I've ever seen. Health and wellness and mindfulness, and people are, they are getting up, they are helping each other. This last year and a half has been a true experience of pure human spirit. And it also has brought people the attention of, like, my phone rang times 10 in this last year and a half. How do I boost my immune system? How do I stay strong? How do I this? How do I that? To the point where I was doing groups instead of individuals, right? And so I think that I'm really proud of what people have turned things into. There was a lot of shifting unpleasant emotions to future and hope and cheering people on and all of that. I think that has been, our spirits have been stretched, and I think we came out, and I think we're coming out, and I think we're winning.
The pandemic was awful for those who've lost loved ones, and for people that have really had to struggle. But, I was given a saying 2 or 3 years before it came along: the universe is going to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up and grow up. Double entendre on that, to step outside of me, myself, and me into what can I do for everyone else, for the community? Because if the community isn't strong, we're not strong. And we realized with the lockdown, with that isolation, what a gift it was to reflect, to review. There is so much pivoting going on now. There's so many people who've changed careers, changed lifestyles. I was caught in a loop, and I didn't realize I was caught in that until I got shut down. And when I got shut down, I had time to reflect, time to review, time to renew, and choose what I really wanted for myself and really meant something to me. And I think one of the most, heart-killing things is not having a purpose, not having something to get you up in the morning, not being a part of something. And if you can find that something in your community, whatever it is, big or small, I don't care, it's being a part of something. I think it gives you a reason to keep on living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would agree. It's been eye-opening. It's been eye-opening for people. And so they're getting smarter, and they're getting healthier, and they're making different changes.
And that's the point. It's, you don't just, go and take these nutrients and you're going to be all right. You are an inside out person. You're going to take the various layers of them and see which ones are more stressed, and what your nutrition to put in to bring about the equilibrium, so that they look at those stressed areas and what can we do about that. We can't just go straight for the stressed areas and then everything else is just being left behind, because you'll only go back into stress again. So we need to look at ourselves as the beautiful multiple layers we are, and be willing to do the work on it, guided by people like you who not only have the knowledge, but the conviction and the passion for it. That is important. If that person has passion for your health, you're going to get passionate about your health.
Absolutely. Should we teach your listeners something that they should pay attention to?
Yeah, most certainly.
Yes.
Lessons learned are always good.
Yeah. So at least these are kind of words that are not going to be obscure if you're talking to me or someone else. And so when it comes to anti-aging, we hear a lot of the times, and people don't really understand what it is. Oh, we regenerate your cells, or your cells will regenerate, or, renewal of the cells, or, refresh of the cells. And people are like, oh, what do I do? Like, just go get in the shower,
21 again. Yes.
You can do this and you can do that, and age reversal and one of the key factors in age reversal is this beautiful, beautiful thing called the mitochondria. And I don't send people to the world of Google too often. But you can look up the benefits of mitochondria. I just, because
actually,
Google,
can you spell that for people? So people, if they do want to look it up.
Yes, because when people go to Google that, they're going to end up with a whole bunch of 45 different ads.
Right.
I don't like that about Google. I just want you to go and look it up and look at the definition when it comes up. Don't click on the 45,000 ads because they're going to probably try to sell you something. So I don't send people there, or, they don't have it this verse anymore. So Mito, Mito chondria, CHRONDIA. Or you can just send me your information and I'll send you information on mitochondria very safely. So the mitochondria is the lung of your cell. So you have multiple billions of cells in your body, over 3 billion of cells. And I'm a visual person, particularly if people are listening to this audioly. And so if you imagine this beautiful cell, you're imagining this round, beautiful cell. If you're visual, just imagine the lung of the cell. It's mitochondria. It kind of looks like a little bit like a beetle if you're looking at a picture of it. Not such a great thing. But that mitochondria starts, you have them when you're born. And then as life continues, you can imagine it starts to get a little dimmer, just like a light switch would. And you're just kind of going dimmer, 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 dimmer. Unless you're doing things on a continuum basis. Life will do it anyways. Even if you're someone like me, who's out there in the world, who knows about things, who's been taking nutraceuticals, who's been in the health field, I don't have like a special little bucket I get to go into because I happen to know about it. I have to do the exact same thing. There's things that I need to do. Now, that mitochondria needs to be optimized, right? And so there's supplements that you can do to optimize, and I can talk about that. But the one thing that you want to do is make sure that it is optimized. Why? Is because it actually can reverse the age of your cell upwards of 9 to 11 years.
Wow.
So now you're visually looking at me. I don't tend to get guessed for my age too much. And it's because I've been working with the mitochondria for a very, 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 very long time. And what it does is that's where it actually does that. And I kind of like, my hands are going in a circle backwards. It's like it does cell reversal, but it also makes that cell younger. And it's not so much that it's making it younger, it makes it this beautiful receptor. And so then if you are having that organic food, right? Like there's supplements that I give to people that optimize that mitochondria. So it is bright and it is breathing and it is fresh and it is youthful. Now you got this cell. Well, you need to do repair on the cell and you need to make it a beautiful receptor so that when you're taking in your greens in the morning or your smoothie in the morning or your squash soup or your cold squash soup because it was so good you had some left over or whatever it is that you're taking, you want your cells to pull in the nutrients, right? You want them to pull in the nutrients. That's a key factor. When I take a look at people's skin and they're like, I have wrinkles. I don't want wrinkles. I can see aging on my neck, or my hands are getting age spots, or when you're talking about that inside stuff we're talking about, then I give people things to take on the inside. I obviously do topical as well, but it's got to be topical that goes inside. And it's that mitochondria. You want all your cells like super happy. Meditation, fantastic for clearing up, opening up, turning on the mitochondria, turning on your cells, turning on the bright lights. So there's supplements that you can take to do it. And then what it is that you're feeding those cells, they need to, there's things that I'll suggest that put the body into alkaline. People are like, alkaline, what the hell's alkaline? And alkaline puts your body into a disease-free zone. Now, isn't that awesome?
Yes.
Most disease will fester in an acidic zone. So people's bodies are in an acidic state most of the time, unless you consciously are aware of eating the foods that are good for alkaline, putting your body into an alkaline state. And there's different things that you can do. There's supplements and different waters and things that are alkaline. And you want to put yourself into an alkaline state. So even if you are having a bit of something going on, it doesn't get into a disease form,
right?
All of those things. So yes, mitochondria is going to be people's word of the day. And that's kind of, for me, when they talk about the fountain of youth, You want to feel younger, and you definitely want it to look younger because your skin will change, your hair will change, your nails will grow, your lashes will grow. So it's really that, it's the soil. It's the soil, right? It's fertilizing the soil. That's actually the fountain of youth in my 30 years unprofessional, professional experience.
Well, you look at the cell as a beautiful plump red grape.
Yeah.
Right. And then, it starts losing its moisture and it starts shriveling up. And, as we get older, if we don't keep them optimized, if we don't keep them plump and juicy, they start shriveling up. Well, those cellular structures start breaking everything else down because they're the support system for all the other organs. We had a wonderful lady who was on for 5 years with me, right until her 82nd birthday. Did Wise Health. They used to call her snake oil woman back in her day because, all the woo-woo stuff and everything else. But she would say that the liver, the colon, and the kidneys are the most important organs, because if they're not optimized, they break everything else down. And that's the cellular structure is what keeps them optimized, isn't it? So, all these billion cells are working for us. Just like you're driving a car. If you're driving it without fuel, what happens? Right? So it's the same thing. Put the right fuel in, and then it's going to be able to continue to work for you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such the body is such an amazing thing. So the body is such an amazing thing. And obviously your organs and cleanse. I mean, it can go as complex as possible from a standard of keeping and when your organs are happy and they're vital, so are you. It's kind of hard to feel like crap when your body's not. And it does play a fact in our emotional health. It does play a fact. There's like the conversation I had with this gentleman this morning, right? He has some things going on. He spent many years in the forces, so he saw things that were kind of difficult, and your mental health is such a big deal. And so that's, I think, I teach a lecture called Brain Health is Sexy. Some people like to call it the millionaire brain. When I'm speaking to entrepreneurs, they want the millionaire brain because they are very clear that their brain health is a big part of their financial health, because you need to be intact, and there's things that you're going to tackle in life. You said it yourself. No one's getting through this alone. No one's getting through it without a little scathing and some bruises. And your mental state will depict. And then there's the natural organic progression of this beautiful microtubular in your brain that's starting to unravel at 21. And so how can we stop that unraveling? And so, because that's your memory and that's your concentration, it's your focus, it's your stamina, your brain stamina. I mean, there's, when people say, I can't do what I used to do, there's reasons for that. Your body is starting to go into that progression, but you can, and I won't say fight it, but there is something called age reversal. There is memory reversal. Like, there are many beautiful things that you can do to stop brain fog and actually repair. I mean, when I was first studying the brain, there wasn't. My daughter was in school. She had a learning challenge. And I was watching a lot of work from one particular neuroscientist, and he's rated the top 3 in the world. And he's like, okay, I've nailed it. These are the section of the brains. This is what's happening in each of the brain. And he didn't have a solution.
Right.
I watched the progression of, because that's what research does. That's what we pay for when we're volunteering, or someone's going for a run and we're funding them. And, like this, silly little thing across Ireland. It's like, all of that actually does produce results. Like, your fundraising efforts produces results. And now there are solutions, right? So that
it's interesting that this week I have a wonderful guy called Howard Berg on. Then he was Guinness Book of Record maker with being able to speak 25,000 words a minute and read God knows how much, whatever. But he teaches people how to read faster, how to retain the information. And I actually didn't know when I was doing the show how spiritual we would go. And he talks about really being tapped into our spirit, the heart and soul. When you engage the heart, it wants to remember. When you only engage the mind, it's only going to remember certain things. And he has an entire practice of how we can actually remember things and keep our brain engaged. But it also is that heart connection, which actually ended up being a delightful show because I wasn't expecting it to go that way, And that's the thing, is he's 72 and he's been doing this a long time. And we have a problem with the brain fog, and a lot of people with COVID right now have a problem with brain fog.
Yes.
It's become a huge, big problem, but we all have it at some point. I call them brain farts.
Well, I'd love to tell people without sounding like a scientist, and I'd love to talk to your friend because I am an avid reader, and I would love to up my game a little bit. There's some, I have 4 or 5 books that are sitting there. I'm like, please, no one buy me a book for Christmas, please, please. Yes. I have seen these books, and some of them are on the brain, but I just want to tell people, give yourself a break.
Yes.
Because okay, as soon as everyone was watching the news, I literally was doing free brain health seminars and meditations. Like, I was like, okay, come here for free, come here for free, come here for free. And I was running them through Eventbrite and setting them up on social media because I saw what was happening, because it was even happening to myself. So we have this beautiful part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex, right? I'm sure you know this information. Yes. And
not everybody does, though.
Yes, it gets flooded. It gets flooded. And I want to share something with you big time. So for those of you that are still glued to your TV set, there was nothing I was doing. And people would call me and I'm like, I beg you to stop watching just for a week, just for a week. Because here's what happens. Our prefrontal cortex gets flooded because you're taking in information that one is coming in as new knowledge, and you're trying to digest it at the very best. Let's just take the pandemic off the table, right? So new knowledge coming in. 2, sometimes what you're watching is, for your brain, psychologically difficult to digest. It's unfathomable. You can't imagine that little kitty cat getting stuck in a tree, or you can't imagine someone in a car accident. So you're watching unfathomable. So unfathomable seems like that takes a long time to digest. Or you're watching something that might be re-triggering your own trauma from gosh knows what, right? Oh, that situation happened and it triggers something that you don't know. So you could be sitting there triggered, right? Half the time people watch the news. Yeah, you're traumatized. And here's what I want to tell people. When you hear a story or you watch the news and there's something traumatic to you, may not be traumatic to you. You could be able to, you could be a heart surgeon. Someone opened up their heart. I was running out of science class when they tried to dissect a frog. I wanted to be a doctor. I was like, that ain't happening. I'm like on the floor skipping out of school. Please don't let me do it,
Right.
So it may not be traumatic to you, but it's traumatic to me. Here's what happens. Your brain takes 30 hours to process trauma. So something that you see that's traumatic. So when we go through like a 9/11 situation, or what we've just gone through, or even in your own home and life, you're having trauma, 30 hours. And then when it gets triggered again, 30 hours. So you're watching the news every night. Do I need to tell you what's happening to your prefrontal cortex?
Overload.
Do you want to know why you have your brain fog is just exacerbated? Do you want to know why your microtubular in your brain is unraveling so fast that you're flooded? Do you want to know why you're crying at work? Do you want to know why you don't have passion? Do you want to know why you don't feel sexual anymore? Why you don't want to go to the gym? Why you don't want to meet your girlfriend for yoga? It's the same thing as like, I can be transparent right now. Like, we've just got a major situation in our family where someone's passing, a very, a strong matriarch in our family, very close to me. And when people are saying, how are you doing? They're sending me those texts during the day. I don't answer them.
Right.
I don't answer them. I'm not rude, but I don't want to re-traumatize myself when I've got to be on an interview with you. So I tell people, please be very careful and filter what you're watching, how much you're watching. And so if you have felt depressed in the last year and a half, there's legitimate reason the happiest person would have recognized that you're re-traumatizing every time you're putting on something if you haven't digested the information before.
They say switch off the media, definitely. I've just had a couple of weekends at my kids' cottage that they've bought, and it's on Lake Cabogan. It's so beautiful. There's a hot tub up at the top where it overlooks the house, so you'd be in the hot tub overlooking the lake, and there was no internet. So no, nothing. And it was just conversation, and conversations went deep because there was no interference. And there was just a sense of rejuvenation, the air, the tranquility, the camaraderie. We were there for my son's birthday as well, and my daughter and husband's anniversary. And it was just wonderful. And we forget how important those kind of gatherings are, or just to be silent and to be still. And what a gift it is. When you're driving, don't drive with the radio blaring. I take that long drive between Victoria and Nanaimo, an hour and 40 minutes, no sound. I just got the engine going there, but I just love letting my mind clear, just letting it go where it needs to go. And we don't know how to do that. I actually want you to come back on another show where I'm doing a roundtable with Mark Singer and Joy Loverday. Joy's written a book it's basically how to getting old, right? You know, when these things come up, what to do, all these solutions. But she also has a massive list of what books and movies to watch that are going to lift you up and put you in a good state of mind. Because as you get older, things can weigh you down. And we need to lift ourselves up. And Mark Singer is all about the retirement. You talked about the 10 cents, you know, putting aside, and he's all about putting that money aside for your retirement, because an awful lot of stress when people get older is money stress. Right. So you with the health, it's a perfect triangle there. So we'll talk about that. That'll come out in January, folks. It'll be a encyclopedia of information. Absolutely. The thing is, the answers are there. And we get too caught up in the problem that our own brain fog is there that we can't see. Why do I do these shows? There's 2,900 of them here. I do them because you've got a problem. There's a solution here by somebody who's dedicated the years and the passion and the conviction to bringing forth to you a solution to your problem. But your health is your choice, is that we've got to take that ownership and go, there's something wrong, there's not something right. I'm not going to give in to the disease or the problem. I'm going to do something about it. Do I know what to do? No. How many podcasts are there out there where they really go in depth to talking about? You have your own podcast network, which we're going to be talking about in the next show, along with Caroline. And we're going to be talking about, obviously, the media side of things. But the answers are there. So please don't stand there and go, oh, well, I've got this, I'm just getting old and I'll just give in to it. No, you don't have to give in to anything. There is always a reason, something you can do to fortify your life. But you've got to participate. You've got to get in there and do something about it, not just wait for someone to do it for you.
I agree. And we now have people that are there's just so many people that are willing to help, and yes. There's just so much more education, and it's not difficult. I just really want to share with people that when people want to take on finding a solution for something, it's not difficult. And here's the beauty of working with practitioners that are educated, that we come from a holistic approach. Mm-hmm. And so if you're talking to someone, like I was talking to someone this morning who's having a reaction to something that they took, and I'm like, I want to talk to you about the inflammation that's going on in your body. And I'm going to refer you to one of the best of the best of the best of someone who can help you with this other part. So the beautiful thing is that there's a plethora of people that yes. actually holistically work together. Yes. Because, you may be more than one thing, you may be more than one thing going on. And so,
it's a community. I mean, that's bottom line of everything, collaboration and community. We don't need comparison and competition. We need collaboration and community, because when we come together, it's like a wonderful potluck. All those different dishes, excite different taste buds. This person knows this person knows that. And when we're willing to listen and put it all on the table, my goodness, look there. We've got something that fits all together, right? And that willingness, though, I think we've got too bombarded again by the ads, and one that gets me, oh my God, every time I see it, depression hurts. And they talk about the people who are depressed, take this drug, and the next 10 minutes may cause suicide. And it's like, how can this even be on the air? And how would even anybody prescribe it? And how would anybody even ask for it? And a lot of that is desperation, because they don't know there are other answers. So please don't just buy what you see in front, especially if there's those kind of side effects. Know there is something else out there. You're just going to have to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here to help. We're here to help, my friend.
The next show that we're going to be doing with Caroline, because I want people to be able to go straight into it, what are we going to be talking about?
Well, we're going to be talking about the other side. So for me, my passion is about helping people. Mm-hmm. And where, you want to talk about spiritual, I am very spiritually aware that I'm here to serve.
Yes.
And so I always say, when people say, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I've been in health and wealth and wellness for over 30 years. And they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, I was an entrepreneur when I was in my 20s. You know, I am the daughter of a mother who was a Tupperware lady. And I just saw, wow, this was, and it helped our family. It really helped our family. And so I had a great impression early on of kind of what would be maybe called outside economy. And so my big heart, where mine and Caroline's heart really come together, is that we're here to help entrepreneurs and lifepreneurs and create and bring them onto a platform where they get to inspire other people that may or may not be. And some of the lifepreneurs, oh my gosh, there's someone that you have to have on your show I was talking to last night. Just incredible people doing incredible things.
Right.
And so we're going to talk about that part of it. We're going to talk about what it is that we do and how we support entrepreneurs or lifepreneurs and being able to get them out there, because you know what? That's a big piece. There's a lot of beautiful people that, and you do this all day long and what have you, but we're going to be talking about the kind of maybe the personal development aspect of success in business development, personal development success, which rolls over into high level success in business.
Which, marries very much to what you are doing, because you can't go out there and present yourself as a successful person if everything else about you is breaking down. So if you want to be successful, there's a few ingredients you need to have. Healthy mind, body, heart, and soul, right? Really, really important, because then the passion and the heart behind what you're doing will exude before you even enter the room. That beautiful frequency will be there ready, and people would just can't wait to tune in. But if be fortified and abundant, mind, body, and soul, so that you can bring that abundance in everything that you do. Please don't do it money driven, do it service heart driven. Then the money will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a process, just like learning about your body, just like learning about aging. You go there, you're inspired, you're motivated. And if you're passionate, it all comes together. It all comes together. Yes, you need the finances to pay your rent this month. And yes, you're going to meet someone that evolves that. And I think as long as you're authentic in your passion for the success of yourself, your business, and the people that you're impacting your business, I think you're on the right path.
Yeah, and a lot of people I'm sure that you deal with too are people second or even third career in their lives. Many people 40, 50, 60, I've done the corporate thing, I've raised the kids. It's my turn to do something I'm passionate about, that I really want to do. So their mental and physical well-being health is so utterly important to match the enthusiasm of what they want to do. So you really have a yin yang here and a nice balance. It's not just helping people be healthy, it's now take that healthiness into a healthy business, because they've got so much to give. So, so many experiences they have and so many gifts that they've learned along the way. We want them to share it, because it's for our benefit, right? So the more fortified they are, the stronger that message and the more that it serves other people.
Absolutely. And, and that's what's happening. There's a woman in my business. She's 76. And 10 years ago, before she came in the business, her and her husband were sitting down and wondering which child they were going to move in with. And she went, nope.
Yeah.
And took the whole family to Hawaii, I think 4 years later on her dime.
Right.
76.
It's never too late.
76.
Never too late. The oldest person I've interviewed is 89 and who has her own TV show, and also started a seniors performance club for, aging seniors that are being tossed out of the thing. I mean, if you've got the will, you'll find the way, but the will may be there. But if the body isn't along with that will, you're not going to have the energy to find the way. So it's both sides of the coin.
Yeah. I tell people, let's get you healthy. Let's get you healthy. Let's get you healthy and you're going to find happy. Let's get you healthy and you're going to find
happy, wealthy. They're all under the same umbrella, aren't they?
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to go into the next show in a moment, but it's going to be two separate shows presented. But how do people get hold of you and what are you offering them individually right now?
So where people can get a hold of me, I'm going to give everything here because some people love one and not the other. If you want to call me, if you're like, I don't want to text you, I want to call you, then here's my phone number. It's area code 604-655-4698. It's my private line. You can call or text, and I will give you a complimentary health conversation. I call it a health conversation because it's not an assessment. It's not we're having a conversation, right? And then I can advise you on what I think is best for you and some good routes to go. So you can come for a complimentary session. Or if someone wants to experience some of the supplements that I endorse, that I've used myself all these years, they can contact me, and I can send out a package to them with something for their skin, their body, and their brain that is focused around anti-aging. You can also contact me through Deb, D-E-B, at Deb Drummond, DEBDRUMMOND.com. Super easy. Deb at DebDrummond.com. That's going to come right into my inbox. And I can either get you a package, or you're more than welcome to have some time to chat with me.
And the two sites that you have?
So DebDrummond.com. Super easy. DebDrummond.com. And then the other one is D Backer. So DBACKER Neora, Neora.com. That one is going to show a lot of the products that I endorse, and you can see some videos and products and what have you. The other one is going to go directly to myself.
Right. And of course, you're on LinkedIn with
yes,
Deborah Drummond, Instagram, Deborah Drummond, Facebook, Deborah Drummond, and of course, the YouTube channel that is right here. So, of course, all they have to do is just put your name in on selfdiscoverymedia.com, and your show will come up. Both shows will come up. And I'm looking forward to the next show. And, you know, it doesn't matter if we compartmentalize information. It's got to serve the whole, which is really, really important. So I'm looking forward to the next one. So, and folks, please, the answers are here. The answers are here. You're scratching your head and you're going, oh, hey, I'm aching and peaking. What's going on with my body? Or I don't have the enthusiasm anymore. Hello, Deborah's right here, right? Give her a call, drop her a line, look at her site. She's ready, willing, and able to help you. So please help yourself. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com, and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.